Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to make a video because that's what we're doing here, right? I've got just some random things to do. I was doing some slip decoration on some bowls this morning, and I have like 3 left to put decoration on, and I thought really I should be putting this into a video. So we're going to do that. I've got some lids to trim for some 6-pound jars that I made the other day. I've got a bisque kiln cooling down. We might unload that. Who knows? We're just going to do some random hodgepodge different things today in this video. But nonetheless, we're here. So let's go. Alrighty, here we are with some 2-pound bowls that I made for the wood kiln, and I made these a little bit thicker, as I've been talking about in a couple of my previous videos about making things a little bit thicker for the wood kiln because I don't want them to warp. Also, I didn't flare out the lip on these, but I left them a really nice bead, thick rim, so that if I want to, I could probably stack these bowls rim to rim when I fire them for the salt kiln. But I'm not sure yet, so either way, we're going to do some decoration, and you can see my wheel here. I've got some overspray already on there from my slip, but I'm going to be using right now. This is my black slip that I have, which is actually the same recipe as my red slip, but I add manganese dioxide to this, and it gives it a nice black, toasty brown look when it comes out of the kiln. But I'm just playing around with some different designs. I'll put a picture up here. Or a little bit of video of showing that the bowls that I've already done. I'm just playing around with some combinations of my red and black and white slip. As you guys know, most of the work that I do, I'm really well known and really love doing dots of glaze or slip and glaze. So I'm playing around a lot with the white slip as dots. Those dots will stay 3D once the pots are fired, and the slips will actually melt down and be really flat and flush. It depends on what glaze I put over these or no glaze. It will affect the way the slips interact with that glaze or if they stay put. I've got a really nice clear liner glaze that if I put that over on the inside of these bowls, it will just give a nice clear finish, but the black and red slip will stay where they are, and of course the white slip will stay where they are no matter what I put over them. But certain glazes, if I put over top of these, it will make the red and black slip run and move. And I'm not sure with the decoration I'm doing that I want that to happen. So either way, I just kind of was playing around with the idea of how I wanted to decorate these. And I just started doing streaks of lines with the red and black slip. I did that one with circles and all the different stuff there. But one of the things that I'd like to say is that if you're going to mess around with slips and decoration, and it takes a while to get used to, but one of the things that makes decoration like that look really nice is to have smooth, confident strokes when you're doing anything like that. Not that they have to be perfect strokes or they have to be perfect circles or perfect lines, but if you try to do it too slow and methodical, it doesn't really work out as well as doing fast, smooth, confident strokes. So one of the designs that I just did one of, and then I'm going to do a couple more of here to show you. I really like this design. Hopefully it turns out well when they're finished. But what I'm going to do is actually just take the black slip here, and I'm going to do a line up here, and then another line that kind of is a little bit, so it leaves kind of a band of space in between them, and then I'm going to flip the bowl around and do the other side kind of the same way. So I'm going to try to hold the bowl so that you can see that as I do those designs. But I'm going to try to make it, and I'm going to put the white slip dots kind of in between each of those bands of slip there. And I'm actually going to start the slip here and kind of go all the way, so the slip's going to kind of go over the rim, and of course that's why I have slip splatters on my wheel head there, is because I've been doing that with different designs and kind of following all the way through instead of stopping when I get to the end, just kind of follow it through. So and I'm not too worried about them being perfect, as I just said. So, but anyway, we're going to get the slip to the end of the bottle there, and then we're going to do something like that, and then do another line like that. So there, I've got 2 lines that go from rim to rim with that little gap in there. There's another one, and there we go. So now I've got those two gaps, or four lines with kind of a gap in between each one. And now I'm going to take my white slip that I'm going to make the dots out of, and I'm going to just put random dots inside here, different sizes and different placement. And so I try not to, I'm not trying to do a pattern at this moment with the white slip. I'm not necessarily trying to cover up the black slip lines, although sometimes I do hit it and go over the edge a little bit, and just to give myself a breakup of the design. So like I said, if I leave these raw on the inside, you would basically have just the raw clay and the salt glaze that will happen inside of my wood kiln when we put salt in there. The salt will cover the clay on the inside of the bowl. Of course, I could always put a little bit of glass or something down in the bottom if I wanted to. But I think that's a really cool design there. It breaks up the inside of that bowl. Either way, whether I glaze the inside or not, the outside most likely I will leave without having slip on it. I'm going to clean off that little bit of a big drip there that's on the outside. I don't mind having a little bit of that black slip on the rim, but that was a pretty big drip there. All right, let's grab another one. All right, we're going to do the same thing with this one. There we go. I really like those four lines. Give me a little bit more space in between each of them. And, you know, like I said, I'm not worried about each side being the same as the other side. I actually like it being different. The last one I did, I think I could have used a little bit more space in between each line. So this one I tried to give myself a little bit more space to put these white slip dots in between each of the lines. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing there. It's hard with this size of a bowl and trying to do a video of doing what I need to do without messing up and show you guys at the same time. In this part of the process, usually also I'm really in deep thought when I'm doing a lot of this, of like what kind of design do I want to do. And actually I just posted a picture to my Instagram and to Facebook a little bit ago with some of the bowls I had already done decoration on. And I said, I don't know if this is from inspiration or slight insanity, but I've been working some long hours, so it could be either one. But that right there, I think that's a really cool design. And I could do the inverse of this as well. I could do white slip lines and then do red and black dots in there. That would be cool too. Alright, this one is still stuck to the bat. It's the only one out of all of them that is actually still stuck to the bat, but that nonetheless, it will decorate it just all the same. Actually, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try doing white slip lines, and then I'm going to do some red, and I might even do red and black dots inside there. We'll see. We're going to do the white lines here first. Oh, wow, that one splattered a lot more. I think this is not as thick as it could be. Oop. Good thing about that, if you mess up, just wipe it out with a wet sponge and start over. Alright, that's definitely different because the white, as it got way down in there, it kind of splattered a little bit more than the other slips were doing. I think I just refilled this white, and it was a little bit watery compared to these two. So, but I'm going to leave it, not going to worry about that too much, and then I'm going to come back and put some, I think I might intermix the red and black slip dots. So I'm going to kind of just put these a little bit more sparse and come back with the red here in a second and put those in. Alright, so there's the black. I actually love the way these slips look before they're even fired. Just having that nice kind of like rusty red brown, and then that dark chocolate brown and the white, and then the color of the clay. I just think they look so cool. So I have I say I have no idea, but I'm not 100% sure how that's going to look when it's finished, but either way, there's another one done. All right, now we're going to actually sign and trim these bowls, and although this is a pretty, I don't know, you might be considered like a mundane part of this process, I think it's a pretty important one because, number one, I hand sign everything that I make, and I think that's, well, it's important to me. I'm not against people that stamp the bottom of their pots. I actually have a stamp of my signature, but I don't use it. Number one, the main reason I don't use it is because I didn't like the way that I had to use it, because the bottom of the pot has to be a lot more wet than I would like for it to be when I actually want to sign my pots in order to stamp them. And if you've got a really wide bottom, you know, you can't stamp in the middle of the bottom unless you can actually if you have a large vase or something with a skinny neck, you can't stamp in the middle of that because it's going to push up the bottom. So you have to stamp around the edge. There's a lot of reasons for that. Plus, I just like the personal touch of actually hand signing all of my pots. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I realized, especially working with my gas kiln, one of the things that I realized is that I've worked for a lot of different potters, and I've seen a lot of the potters take a pot, and whether they hand sign it or whether they stamp it, they would take it after it comes off the bat, whether they wired it off or whether they let it dry on the bat and it pops off, which mostly what I do if I can is I let all my pots dry until they pop off the bat, and when they release from the bat, they're really at a perfect stage to be hand signed. And so that's kind of a good timing for me to realize, okay, these are off the bat, they're perfect to sign and trim, and let's go. One of the things I realized is some of those potters that I've worked for would take and sand the pot when it's dry, and to get off any get off any burrs and make the pot real smooth. There's a danger in that because of the raw clay dust is not good to breathe in, and it just makes a mess. Number two, then also I've known people that wait till after they're bisque fired and sand them then, which is harder to sand when they're bisque fired. And I still think there's probably some danger in that dust as well. And so what I've realized is that, especially like I said, using my gas kiln, that if I sand things, whether they're green or whether they're bisque, and then I glaze fire them, I still have to sand them when they come out of the glaze kiln because the bottom gets rough again. Because I think some of that fine material either retracts or goes away one way or another as far as when it's completely fired. Some of that fine material probably retracts and it leaves some of the rough stuff around on the bottom of the pot, and you don't want to just leave that bottom unsanded when it comes out of the glaze. And so I've realized that I'm not going to waste my time or endanger myself by sanding a pot, whether it's green or bisque, and I'm just going to trim up around the bottom, hand sign it, trim up around the bottom, make it rounded and as smooth as I can. I use one of these knives, and I just use a nail to sign the bottom. You could use a pen or a nail or anything that you want to use to sign, as long as you get that imprint. Then I'm going to bisque fire it, I'm going to glaze it and glaze fire it, and then when it comes out of the glaze, then I'm going to sand it at the very end. So now all of these pots that I'm working on now are going to go into my wood kiln, which everything in the wood kiln will be put on little wads of clay to keep them up off the shelf, because there's going to be salt introduced to the firing. So we're going to have to keep everything up off the shelf. And so these will have to be sanded when they come out of the glaze no matter what anyways, because they're going to have either the wads still stuck on the bottom, or where the wads were on the bottom, there's going to be spots where it's going to be rough or sharp that you have to clean off. So, but I'm just going to take the same rule that I've been using for my gas kiln, just going to trim up real nicely around the bottom after I sign them, and then put them out here to dry, bisque fire them, glaze them, and put them in the wood kiln. So anyway, I know that's a long explanation, but I thought that was kind of important and really something that I think a lot of potters could benefit from, by making it safer by not breathing in that clay dust, and also just saving yourself some time and work by not having to sand things. Now this is really dependent on the fact that you throw clean. If you have junk on the side of your pot when you're done throwing and before it's bisque, you need to get it off, because if you've got slip and like other little small particles of clay that are on that pot, you better get them off before you bisque fire, because you're going to have a hard time after it's bisque to get that off. But as you can see, when I throw, that pot is pretty clean on the outside, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just trying to get this sharp edge that's around the bottom, round that off a little bit more, also clean up where I sign it, and then they're ready to go. So we're going to do that now, and yeah. Now I'm signing all of my pots for this round of making pots with that number 1 on the bottom, and that's because my first firing I decided to mark everything special so that everybody will know that if they're buying a pot for my first kiln opening, it will have that number 1 on the bottom to know it's from my first wood firing, and to make them a little extra special. After doing that design on those smaller bowls, I realized, or I remembered, I had some of these 3-pound platter bowls that I had made that I didn't do any slip decoration on yet. I was thinking about leaving them plain and then doing some glaze decoration on them, but I like that design so much with the swooping lines and the dots in between that I thought I'm going to try that on a couple of these wider 3-pound platter bowls and see how I like that. Also, this may be a better angle for you guys to see what I'm doing. Number one, these are wider open forms, and or this may be horrible. It may not work out, and then I'll be like, all right, scrap that idea, we're gonna keep them plain. So we're gonna try that with the first one here, and we're gonna try the black slip lines and the white dots, and see how it goes. So let's see. I think I might I'm probably still going to have to hold it and do it like this in order to get those lines to go the way I want, because if I lay it flat, the slip's going to be spraying down that way, and I want it to be going this way. So let's see here. All right. Well, there's that. This one doesn't connect all the way, but that doesn't bother me either. I like those lines. I like how gradual they are based on, it kind of makes them more gradual because of the slope of the bowl being not as sharp like the other ones. And then we'll come and do our slip dots. my goal with the slip dots is not only to do random placement, but also random size. So I try to change how much I'm squeezing on the slip bottle at times to get the different size slip dots. I try not to get them connecting like that at times, but if they do connect, I don't worry about it. All right, that's a pretty neat design there. I hope it turns out as much as I like it right now. I hope it turns out just as nice in the finished product. All right, now we'll do one with the red slip, and trying to decide if I want to do. I think I like those two lines. Yeah, we'll do that. I've got 4 spots on this one, so I'm trying to decide if I want to line up the hoops or the swooshes kind of like that with across from each other based on these. Now, I don't want to go exactly with them, but I kind of like to play off of them. I was thinking about maybe even doing some swooshes, 4 of them in between, but I think that's a little bit too geometric versus my organic look that I'm going for with this. There we go. There's that, making a nice mess of the wheel. There we go. I'm going to try doing the white lines again. I think it'll work a little better with this open form rather than that closed in form, because I can keep the slip bottle a little closer to my line, and it may not spray out as much as it did last time. Like I said, this is a little bit of a wet white slip. I could stiffen it up a little bit if I need to, but I'm going to try just using it the way it is. Well, if it spurts like that, that doesn't help. There we go. We'll see what that looks like finished. It ought to be interesting. All right, I got one more here we're going to do some slip decoration on, and I think, well, at least one more. I might find some more now that I'm inspired with all this, but I think I'm going to divide this one into 3 sections. See if we can get that done here. I think I'm still going to do the 2 lines in each of the 3 sections, and then do the dots in between. So there's 1, 2, 3. Haha! Look at that. I love that already, and I haven't even done the white slip dots yet. Alright, well surely by now you guys are tired of hearing me ramble, so we'll end the video there. I'm sure I have plenty of footage. I didn't do as many random hodgepodge things in this video as I thought I was going to do, because I found those other platter bowls and we just did slip decoration the whole time. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I hope it inspired you. And if it did, go make some amazing pots, and more importantly, go be amazing. And let's go have some fun. Alright? Thank you guys for being here as always, and if you really did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, whatever it is. Share the video. If you haven't subscribed, do that before you go. And hope you guys have a great day. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.